If Earth has been visited before, would humanity even know? Beneath the endless dome of the night sky, every generation has looked upward and wondered. In the darkness between the stars, silence reigns. Yet across history, strange imprints remain. Myths of fiery chariots, carvings of figures with impossible wings, sudden leaps in knowledge that seem to appear before their time. Were these nothing more than the dreams of restless minds, or traces of something unseen? The cosmos itself offers no easy reply. It surrounds humanity with immeasurable vastness, where billions of stars burn and fade in an ocean of time. Against this backdrop, Earth is a fragile ember, its story both insignificant and precious. If another intelligence has ever looked upon it, then humanity's solitude is an illusion. If not, then the silence is absolute, and the stars are indifferent. This is the tension that has haunted centuries, the possibility that Earth has been both noticed and ignored, that its history carries whispers too faint to be certain. The mystery is both terrifying and poetic. To be alone is to face eternity in solitude. To be watched is to be part of a story greater than imagination. From ancient symbols carved in stone to the giant telescopes scanning for signals, from whispered legends to the equations of astrophysics, humanity has been tracing shadows, searching for answers that remain just beyond reach. The journey begins here, at the threshold between wonder and fear, beneath skies that may hold secrets older than civilization itself.
Long before telescopes traced the heavens, before equations mapped the stars, humanity's ancestors looked upward with naked eyes. To them, the night was not empty, it was alive. Constellations were not cold arrangements of burning suns but stories, spirits, and gods. In every direction, the sky seemed to whisper, shaping myths that would endure for thousands of years. The Sumerians, among the first builders of cities, spoke of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the heavens to guide and judge humanity. Their tablets described knowledge given, kings chosen, destinies marked by forces that did not walk the earth. In Egypt, pharaohs were not merely rulers, they were bridges between mortal and divine, their souls destined to rise among the imperishable stars. The pyramids were aligned not randomly but with exquisite precision, pointing toward Orion's belt, a constellation that for the Egyptians symbolized Osiris, lord of the afterlife. Far across the ocean, in the jungles of Central America, the Maya traced their own sky gods, their calendars synchronized to celestial rhythms with uncanny accuracy. The Dresden Codex, one of the few surviving Mayan texts, records calculations of Venus's orbit with a precision rivaling modern measurements. In India, the Vedic text spoke of flying chariots, vimanas, capable of traversing the heavens, descriptions so elaborate they included battle strategies fought in the skies. Were these only myths? Or were they echoes of something witnessed, then preserved in the only language available, story, symbol, and faith? Across continents, strange patterns emerged, etched into Earth itself. In the desert of Peru, gigantic lines stretch for miles, the Nazca lines, carved into the soil nearly 2,000 years ago. From the ground, they appear meaningless, mere scratches across barren land. Yet from the sky, they reveal enormous geoglyphs, spiders, hummingbirds, monkeys, designs so vast that their full form can only be seen from above. Scholars argue they were ceremonial, offerings to the gods of the air. But the question lingers, why construct messages that only the heavens could fully behold? The pyramids of Giza, too, hold astronomical secrets. Their placement mirrors the alignment of Orion's belt. Their sides are angled almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, deviating by less than a fraction of a degree. For a civilization without modern instruments, the precision remains astonishing. In Mesoamerica, the Pyramid of El Castillo at Chichen Itza casts the shadow of a serpent on the equinox, an interplay of stone and sunlight that signals celestial order. These are not isolated marvels. Around the globe, megaliths rise, Stonehenge in Britain, Nabta Playa in the Sahara, the Temple of Karnak in Egypt, all aligned to the solstices, equinoxes, and stars. Such structures demanded immense labor, planning, and a level of astronomical understanding that far surpassed survival needs. They were not merely calendars. They were messages, encoded in stone, proclaiming that the sky mattered as much as the earth beneath. Modern science offers rational explanations. Ancient civilizations were not primitive in thought, they were astronomers, engineers, and mathematicians of remarkable skill. With generations of careful observation, they mapped the heavens, predicting eclipses and tracking planetary cycles. The pyramids, lines, and temples could be the natural outgrowth of civilizations binding their survival to celestial rhythms, agriculture guided by the sun, rituals timed by the moon, destinies written in the stars. And yet, a mystery remains. Why did so many distant cultures, separated by oceans and centuries, converge on the same archetype, beings from the sky, descending to teach, to rule, to judge? Psychologists argue that the sky, vast and unreachable, naturally inspired myths of origin and power. Others suggest that in moments of awe, comets streaking across the night, eclipses swallowing the sun, early humanity saw the heavens as alive, conscious, inhabited. But some researchers propose a more unsettling thought: what if these were memories, however distorted, of genuine encounters? If advanced intelligences had ever visited Earth, the only framework early humans possessed was myth and religion. A spacecraft could become a fiery chariot. A visitor in armor could be remembered as an angel. A technology too advanced to comprehend could be transcribed as divine magic. The question grows sharper when one considers the sudden leaps in knowledge throughout antiquity. Sumerian tablets described advanced mathematics, including concepts of the number 60 still embedded in how time is measured today. The Mayan calendar rivaled astronomical models of far later civilizations. The Egyptians engineered monuments with precision rivaling modern construction. None of this requires extraterrestrial influence, human ingenuity alone may suffice. But the convergence of myth and anomaly continues to stir unease, as though history carries a faint shadow that refuses to fade. Consider the Dogon people of Mali. For centuries, their traditions described a star invisible to the naked eye, companion to Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. They claimed this hidden star, Sirius B, was small, dense, and orbited its companion in 50 years. Modern astronomy confirmed these claims in the 20th century, using telescopes and astrophysical models. How could a pre-telescopic culture know such details? Skeptics suggest cultural contamination, knowledge passed through contact with modern astronomers before it was documented. Yet the legend endures, a reminder that some ancient whispers resist full explanation. Science demands caution. Evidence of visitors in antiquity remains elusive. Archaeology reveals human fingerprints in every monument, every carving, every line etched into desert soil. But science also acknowledges its limits. For thousands of years, humanity has wondered whether it is alone, and the past remains fertile ground for speculation. Were the myths of gods descending from the heavens mere symbols of human longing, or did they conceal events beyond ordinary comprehension? The truth may never be recovered. Stone erodes, texts are lost, and memories twist into legend. Yet the persistence of these stories across civilizations reveals something profound about humanity itself. The need to connect the human story with the stars is ancient, perhaps instinctive. Even without visitors, the heavens shaped humanity's myths, its religions, its architecture, its destiny. As the ancient world faded into history, the whispers of the sky did not fall silent. They transformed. With the invention of the telescope, the heavens would no longer belong to gods and myths but to science. Stars became suns, distant and real. Planets became worlds, solid and mysterious. The sky, once sacred, became a frontier. But the echoes of the past lingered. The myths of sky gods, the alignments of pyramids, the vast geoglyphs etched into barren deserts, all remain like faint footprints on the forgotten path. Whether symbolic, coincidental, or remnants of something stranger, they remind humanity that the question is not new. The search for life beyond Earth has been with civilization from its first breath. For in the end, every culture, from the Sumerians to the Mayan, from the Vedic sages to the builders of Stonehenge, will come with and ask the same question: who, if anyone, is watching from the stars? relentless pursuit of proof. The Middle Ages were an age of shadows and faith, where the cosmos was less a physical space than a spiritual stage. The heavens were not silent spheres of gas and stone but a canvas where angels moved, demons whispered, and gods were unfolded above the earth. To gaze upward was not an act of science. It was an act of devotion, of fear, of awe. And yet, the chronicles of that era record something stranger, visions not easily confined to faith or scripture. Across Europe and beyond, men and women raised their eyes and saw wonders that defied explanation. In the year 776, during the siege of Sigeberg in France, witnesses described glowing shields in the sky, fiery and red, circling above the church. Warriors on both sides halted their battle, transfixed by the apparition. Some called them heavenly angels, intervening in mortal conflict. Others saw omens of doom. Today, their description lingers like a puzzle, celestial lights that sound eerily similar to modern accounts of unidentified aerial phenomena. In Rome, 1239, a monk recorded that the sun was eclipsed by a vast circular object, dark and immense, crossing silently over the sky. In Nuremberg, 1561, citizens awoke to a spectacle etched forever in broadsheets, spheres, crosses, and cylindrical forms battling in the heavens, showering the earth with sparks. The event was chronicled not as metaphor but as literal sight. The artists who carved it into woodblock prints did not speak of angels. They spoke of machines of light, engaged in some unfathomable struggle. A few decades later, in Basel, 1566, another spectacle unfolded. Globes of black and white appeared at dawn, darting across the sky, colliding, breaking apart, as if armies of celestial objects fought above the city. To the people of that time, these visions could only be filtered through the language of faith. God's signs. Angelic wars. Messages from heaven. Yet in retrospect, they sound like something else, phenomena unmoored from explanation, fragments of a mystery that science has not fully claimed. For centuries, the boundary between religion and astronomy blurred. The stars were not distant suns, but pinpricks in a firmament, tiny holes through which divine light shone. To question this order was heresy. And yet, the universe was not silent. Comets streaked across the night, sudden and unpredictable. Meteors flared with fiery descent. Eclipses darkened the world, terrifying entire populations who believed the sun had been swallowed whole. In this crucible of wonder and fear, the first seeds of astronomy began to grow. Monks in cloisters tracked lunar cycles with patience and precision, charting eclipses and planetary movements. Islamic scholars preserved and expanded the astronomical wisdom of the Greeks, building observatories in Baghdad, Samarkand, and Cordoba. They calculated the tilt of Earth's axis, refined planetary models, and catalogued the stars with extraordinary care. But to the ordinary people of the medieval world, the sky remained a place where the divine met the mysterious, where every light, every unexplained fire, was a message. Then came the Renaissance, the rebirth of curiosity, the awakening of reason. Slowly, the heavens shifted from scripture to science. A Polish cleric named Nicholas Copernicus dared to suggest that Earth was not the center of creation, but a planet circling the sun. His book, De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, was published in 1543, the year of his death, and ignited a quiet revolution. If Earth was not central, then humanity itself was displaced, no longer the axis of all things, but one world among many. Still, the heavens remained untouchable, until an Italian mathematician turned his eye to the sky with an instrument of glass and brass. In 1609, Galileo Galilei lifted a telescope to the night. What he saw fractured the medieval sky forever. The moon was not a smooth, divine orb, but a scarred world of mountains and valleys. Jupiter was accompanied by 4 moons, dancing in orbit like miniature worlds of their own. Venus shifted in phases, proving it circled the sun. And the Milky Way, once imagined as a pale cloud of divine dust, revealed itself as a sea of countless stars. The universe had expanded overnight. No longer was the sky the realm of gods and angels alone. It was a landscape, vast, material, filled with places that might be visited, measured, even one day touched. And yet, even in this new era of science, anomalies lingered. Reports of unexplained lights did not cease. Celestial wheels, fiery apparitions, and luminous crosses continued to be chronicled, even as telescopes mapped the heavens with greater precision. The Renaissance mind, caught between faith and reason, interpreted these visions in both languages, sometimes divine, sometimes natural, but always tinged with awe. What strikes the modern imagination is not just the frequency of such accounts, but their consistency. Circles of fire. Objects in formation. Apparitions that moved against the stars with purpose, not drift. Were they misinterpretations of natural events, meteors, auroras, the play of light on clouds? Or do they belong to a category still unresolved, sightings of phenomena beyond both medieval religion and Renaissance science? Today, historians caution against reading too much into these records. Medieval chroniclers often blurred the line between the symbolic and the literal. A fiery wheel in the sky might have been a comet, exaggerated by fear. A celestial battle might have been an allegory for human conflict below. The woodcuts of Nuremberg and Basel may have combined genuine atmospheric events with the imaginations of artists steeped in religious vision. And yet, the enigma endures. For across centuries, across cultures, the same shapes reappear: discs, globes, wheels, radiant crosses of light. They persist like motifs in a tapestry, weaving themselves into human memory, impossible to fully dismiss. The rise of the telescope did more than expand knowledge, it transformed humanity's very relationship with the cosmos. For the first time, the sky was not simply looked at, it was inspected, interrogated, measured. The unknown had to justify itself. Myths began to dissolve under lenses of glass. Angels retreated from the moon. Demons vanished from the stars. And yet, something else replaced them, questions even more profound. If the moon was a world, could it be inhabited? If Jupiter had moons, might it be like a miniature solar system, complete with its own possibilities of life? If the stars were countless suns, scattered across unimaginable distances, could they not host worlds of their own? The medieval sky had been filled with divine presences. The Renaissance sky became infinite, cold, vast, and haunted by silence. But in that silence, a new kind of mystery took root, the possibility that humanity was not alone. Thus, the unseen visitors of medieval chronicles, whether born of faith, illusion, or something stranger, stand as a bridge between two worlds of thought. One world imagined the sky as a spiritual stage, alive with angels and omens. The other revealed it as a physical expanse, immense and indifferent, yet filled with possibilities far beyond human reach. In the transition, something was lost, but something greater was gained. For as Galileo's telescope reframed the heavens, humanity found itself not at the center, but adrift among countless stars. And from that moment onward, the search for other beings, once cloaked in myth and miracle, became a scientific quest. The chronicles of fiery shields, celestial wheels, and angelic apparitions may never be fully explained. But they remind us of the continuity of human wonder, the unbroken thread of mystery that links medieval monks, Renaissance astronomers, and modern scientists scanning the skies for signals. For if the universe is infinite, then so too is the possibility that those strange lights, recorded in ink and fear, in woodcut and whisper, were not illusions at all, but the first shadows of a truth still waiting to be seen.
The 20th century was an age of speed and fire. For the first time in history, humanity rose into the sky not on wings of myth, but on engines of steel. Aircraft cut across the clouds, airships floated silently above cities, and later, rockets clawed into the upper atmosphere. The sky, once untouchable, had become a new battlefield, a new frontier, a new mirror for human ambition. But in the shadows of this technological awakening, something else stirred. The more humans claimed the heavens, the more the heavens seemed to answer back. During the Second World War, pilots across Europe and the Pacific reported encounters with strange aerial phenomena. They called them Foo Fighters. glowing spheres of light that danced alongside bombers, darting with impossible agility, sometimes pacing aircraft at hundreds of miles an hour. They appeared in clusters, vanishing in silence, impervious to bullets. Some pilots thought they were German secret weapons. Others whispered of supernatural omens. Reports flooded in, lights weaving through formations, objects executing maneuvers far beyond the physics of propellers and jet engines. In 1944, American intelligence tried to trace their origin, suspecting advanced enemy technology. Yet the war ended, and no such craft were ever revealed. The Foo Fighters faded into history, unresolved but unforgettable, enigmatic sparks of a mystery that would only grow. Then came 1947. A rancher near Roswell, New Mexico, stumbled upon strange wreckage scattered across the desert floor, metallic debris, odd beams inscribed with symbols, and fragments that seemed alien to earthly manufacture. The military quickly arrived, recovering the material under a cloak of secrecy. At first, the local Air Force base announced the capture of a flying disc. Within hours, the statement was retracted. It was nothing more, officials claimed, than a weather balloon. But the seed of suspicion had been planted. What had really fallen from the sky? A classified balloon experiment, or something else entirely? The Roswell incident became more than an event. It became a rupture in cultural imagination. Newspapers blazed with headlines. Rumors spread of alien bodies recovered, of hidden laboratories, of truths buried beneath official denials. Whether fact or myth, Roswell marked a turning point. From that desert crash site, the idea of extraterrestrial visitors took root in the public consciousness, forever entwined with secrecy and suspicion. As sightings multiplied in the post-war years, governments could no longer ignore the phenomenon. In 1952, Washington, D.C., witnessed a wave of mysterious lights appearing over the Capitol itself. Radar confirmed what the eye saw: unidentified objects maneuvering in restricted airspace. The press demanded answers. Officials struggled to contain the unease. In response, the U.S. Air Force launched Project Blue Book, a systematic investigation of UFO reports. From 1952 until 1969, Blue Book collected over 12,000 cases. Most were explained as aircraft, balloons, astronomical misidentifications, or optical illusions. Yet hundreds remained stubbornly unresolved, objects described by trained pilots, radar operators, and military personnel. Cases where lights defied physics, accelerated beyond human technology, or appeared in multiple locations at once. Behind the scenes, secret military files accumulated. The Cold War demanded vigilance. Were these visitors from another world or intrusions of Soviet technology? The line between imagination and national security blurred. Files were classified, witnesses silenced, and the mystery deepened. At the same time, the cultural landscape shifted. The mid-20th century was an age of anxiety and wonder. Nuclear weapons had split the atom and scarred the Earth with mushroom clouds. Rockets reached toward space, promising both satellites and annihilation. The Cold War painted the skies with paranoia. Every glint of light could be a missile, every shadow a spy plane. In that climate of tension, UFOs became symbols, projections of both fear and hope. Radio dramas like the War of the Worlds stirred the imagination, blurring fiction with possibility. Films filled theaters with visions of flying saucers and alien invaders, tapping into the unease of a world divided between superpowers. The image of the disc, the silver craft, the little green being, it all crystallized in this era, shaped by Roswell, by military secrecy, and by the unease of a public living under the shadow of nuclear war. But behind the pop culture spectacle lay a deeper resonance. For the first time in history, the question of extraterrestrial contact entered mainstream discourse. Scientists debated the plausibility of alien civilizations. Mathematicians, like Frank Drake, formulated equations to estimate their abundance. Astronomers began listening for radio signals, scanning the heavens not just for stars, but for voices. The modern UFO mystery was born from this intersection: war and wonder, secrecy and science, fear, and imagination. Foo Fighters, Roswell, Blue Book, all threads woven into a tapestry of unresolved phenomena. And what lingers is not merely the sightings themselves, but the way they reshaped human perception. The idea that the sky was not empty, that the silence above might conceal watchers, visitors, or mysteries far beyond human comprehension. Looking back, historians see patterns. The Foo Fighters may have been plasma discharges, a quirk of high-altitude flight. Roswell's wreckage may have belonged to Project Mogul, a classified program using balloons to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. Many of Blue Book's cases found mundane explanations, and yet the enigma remains. A fraction of the reports, stubborn and inexplicable, resist dismissal. Objects tracked on radar by multiple stations. Lights described by pilots trained to distinguish illusion from reality. Encounters where the ordinary frameworks of weather, technology, and astronomy fail. It is within that fraction, small but persistent, that the modern UFO mystery breathes. A mystery born not in the distant past of medieval omens or Renaissance visions, but in the jet-powered, war-scarred, nuclear-armed 20th century. As the century awakened, so too did the possibility that humanity was not alone. The age of faith had looked upward for angels. The age of science now looked upward for neighbors, intelligent, technological, perhaps already among the stars. And whether those lights in the sky were illusions, weapons, or visitors, they forced humanity to confront its most haunting question. If the universe is filled with billions of suns and countless worlds, why should Earth remain the only stage for intelligence? In the summer of 1950, in a quiet cafeteria at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a simple question slipped into the air. It was spoken by physicist Enrico Fermi, a man who had helped unlock the power of the atom. Surrounded by fellow scientists, he asked not with drama, but with casual curiosity, "Where is everybody?" The question seemed almost innocent. Yet in those 4 words, Fermi captured one of the greatest paradoxes in science. If the universe is vast beyond comprehension, filled with stars, planets, and billions of chances for life to emerge, then why is the night sky silent? Why, after decades of listening, after centuries of watching, have we found no undeniable trace of others? It became known as the Fermi paradox, a riddle that bridges astronomy, biology, and philosophy. Its essence is simple. By all probability, intelligent civilizations should be common. And yet, evidence of them is absent. By the middle of the 20th century, science had already revealed the immensity of the cosmos. The Milky Way alone holds over 100 billion stars, many of them older than the Sun. Today, exoplanet surveys confirm what astronomers once suspected. Planets are not rare, but abundant. NASA's Kepler mission revealed that nearly every star may cradle at least one world, and a significant fraction lie within the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. By conservative estimates, there are tens of billions of potentially Earth-like planets in our galaxy alone. Statistically, life should flourish. Across cosmic timescales, billions of years older than Earth, there has been ample opportunity for civilizations to rise, advance, and spread among the stars. By simple probability, the galaxy should be teeming with voices. And yet, the silence endures. No probes gliding past our planet, no signals etched into the static of the cosmos, no undeniable footprints on the Moon or Mars. Only silence, stretching across the void like an endless unanswered call. This contradiction unsettles the scientific mind because it challenges the very logic of expectation. If life is common, its absence is strange. If life is rare, our existence is stranger still. One explanation is that Earth is extraordinarily unique, a fragile oasis in a desert universe. Perhaps the chain of coincidences that allowed life to bloom here is so improbable that it may not have occurred anywhere else. The exact tilt of Earth's axis, the shield of Jupiter protecting us from impacts, the chemistry of our oceans, the emergence of DNA, all may be steps so rare that they make humanity a solitary phenomenon in an otherwise lifeless galaxy. But if this is true, the implications are staggering. It would mean that in all the billions of suns, humanity may stand utterly alone, custodians of the only consciousness to have ever opened its eyes to the stars. In such a scenario, silence is not mystery, but tragedy. The alternative is no less unsettling. If life is common, if civilizations are countless, then something must prevent them from reaching us. This idea is known as the Great Filter, a hidden barrier in the path of life, one that few or none survive. Perhaps civilizations destroy themselves through war, collapse, or environmental ruin. Perhaps intelligence carries within it the seeds of self-destruction. In this case, the silence is not emptiness, but warning. The paradox therefore forces humanity into a corner. Either it is utterly unique, or it is part of a cosmos where civilizations inevitably vanish before they can reach across the stars. Both answers are terrifying in their own way. This is why the question matters. The search for extraterrestrial life is not idle curiosity. It is not merely the dream of science fiction or the longing for cosmic companionship. It strikes at the foundations of biology, cosmology, and human destiny. If life is rare, then the fragile miracle of Earth becomes infinitely more precious, a singular flame that must be preserved against extinction. If life is common, then humanity's survival may depend on learning what destroyed the others and avoiding that same fate. For decades, scientists have wrestled with this silence. The Drake equation, proposed in 1961, attempted to break the paradox into measurable terms: the rate of star formation, the fraction of stars with planets, the likelihood of life, intelligence, technology, and survival. While each parameter remains uncertain, the equation frames the puzzle mathematically. Even under cautious estimates, the galaxy should host many civilizations. Yet none have revealed themselves. The search has not been idle. Radio telescopes, from Arecibo to the Allen Telescope Array, have scanned the heavens for deliberate signals. Projects like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, have sifted through billions of frequencies, listening for the whisper of alien voices. None has yet emerged. The cosmos remains as mute as ever. Some propose that civilizations may communicate in ways we cannot yet perceive, using physics beyond our understanding. Others suggest they may choose silence, concealing themselves to avoid detection in a dangerous universe. Still others imagine that they are here already, unnoticed or uninterested, existing at scales or in dimensions beyond human comprehension. Each possibility stretches imagination, but none resolves the paradox. The silence persists, cold and absolute. Philosophers reflect on the weight of this silence. It reshapes the story of human origins, challenging the assumption that evolution is universal. It reframes cosmology, suggesting that intelligence may not be the inevitable crown of life, but a rare anomaly. It questions destiny itself, whether humanity is a fleeting accident or a pioneer species destined to carry consciousness into a wider universe. The shock of the paradox lies not only in its question, but in its mirror. For in searching the skies, humanity is truly searching itself, its place, its meaning, its future. The silence of the cosmos becomes the silence of reflection, forcing the species to confront its own fragility, its own destiny, and the possibility that it may be the lone witness to creation. And yet, the paradox is not despair. It is an invitation to search deeper, to look with sharper eyes, broader instruments, and greater patience. The James Webb Space Telescope now peers into the atmospheres of distant worlds, hunting for chemical fingerprints of life. Next-generation radio arrays will sweep the skies with unprecedented sensitivity. The search continues, not only because of curiosity, but because the stakes are existential. Fermi's question still echoes in laboratories, observatories, and in the quiet thoughts of those who gaze into the night sky. Where is everybody? It is a question both haunting and hopeful. For within that silence may lie the most profound discovery of all, that humanity is either a solitary spark in the dark, or one voice among countless others, waiting for the moment when silence finally breaks. Until then, the paradox endures, like a locked door in the halls of the universe. And behind it, a truth that could change everything we believe about life, the cosmos, and ourselves. The 20th century was a time when humanity's eyes turned outward. But it was not only the eyes that searched. Humanity began to listen. If the universe harbors other minds, then perhaps they too have reached the threshold of technology, broadcasting signals into the night. And if so, the first trace of alien intelligence may not be a ship or a visitation, but a whisper, faint threads of radio energy, lost in the static of the cosmos. This idea became the foundation of a bold scientific movement, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI. It was a project that would transform the way humanity imagined its place in the universe. For the first time, the cosmos was not only observed with telescopes of glass and mirrors, but with vast radio dishes, giant ears turned toward the heavens. In the early 1960s, astronomer Frank Drake pioneered the first systematic attempt to listen for signals from beyond Earth. His experiment, called Project Ozma, used the Green Bank telescope in West Virginia to scan two nearby stars, Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani. The equipment was modest by today's standards, but the vision was revolutionary. For weeks, Drake and his team sifted through the static, searching for a signal that might betray an intelligence among the stars. The result was silence. Yet the attempt itself marked a turning point. For the first time, humanity dared to imagine that communication with the cosmos might be possible. Over the decades, the search grew more ambitious. Vast instruments like the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico joined the effort, its massive dish cradled in a jungle valley, capable of both listening and transmitting across interstellar distances. The Green Bank telescope, rebuilt larger and more sensitive, scanned the skies with unmatched precision. SETI became more than a project. It became a philosophy, a scientific testament to hope. And then, in the summer of 1977, something extraordinary happened. At the Big Ear Radio Telescope in Ohio, astronomer Jerry Emin was poring over printouts of data. The telescope had been scanning the sky for narrow-band radio signals, those which could not easily be explained by natural sources. Among the endless columns of numbers, one entry leapt out, a powerful, focused spike of energy, lasting for 72 seconds, from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. Emin circled it in red ink and scribbled two simple words in the margin: "Wow." The signal was never heard again. Its source remains unknown. Some suggest it was a natural phenomenon, perhaps a burst of radiation from a comet or a rare reflection of Earth-based signals. Others believe it may have been what it appeared to be, a genuine transmission from the stars, captured for a fleeting moment before vanishing back into silence. The wow signal became legend, not proof, not confirmation, but possibility. It was the closest humanity had ever come to hearing a voice in the cosmic static. The decades that followed brought both progress and disappointment. SETI expanded across the world, scanning millions of frequencies, recording billions of data points. Each spike, each anomaly, was studied, compared, and often dismissed. Natural phenomena, pulsars, quasars, atmospheric interference, could mimic intelligence. Radio interference from Earth, satellites, and aircraft often contaminated the search. For every hopeful candidate signal, thousands were false alarms. And yet, the search continued, driven by a single idea: if intelligence exists elsewhere, it cannot remain forever silent. In recent years, a new generation of instruments has reignited the search. The Breakthrough Listen project, launched in 2015, represents the most ambitious SETI effort in history. Funded with private investment, it employs the Green Bank telescope in the United States and the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia, sweeping the skies with unprecedented sensitivity. Its mission is vast: to scan the 1 million nearest stars, to listen across billions of radio channels, and to leave no frequency unexplored. Meanwhile, in the mountains of China, a colossal eye has opened. Known as the 500-meter Aperture Spherical Telescope, or FAST, it is the largest radio dish in the world, its immense surface curved against the Earth like a silver sea. With its unmatched sensitivity, FAST has become a cornerstone of the global search, capable of detecting even the faintest whispers from across the galaxy. the tension remains constant. Each new candidate signal brings a thrill of anticipation, followed by the cold precision of verification. Most vanish under scrutiny. Some are revealed as satellites, others as interference, others as natural bursts of cosmic noise. Yet the hope does not dim. Scientists often compare the effort to searching for a single drop of water in an ocean. The radio spectrum is vast, and humanity has so far explored only a fraction of it. The silence, then, is not necessarily absence. It may simply be that the search has only just begun. The emotional weight of the search lies not in its failures, but in its implications. To confirm even a single signal of undeniable intelligence would be to alter the story of humanity forever. It would mean that consciousness is not unique to Earth, that the night sky holds other minds, other histories, other futures. And even if the signal were weak or distant, even if no reply were possible, the knowledge alone would be transformative. It would show that the universe is not silent, but alive. For now, the silence holds. The wow signal remains an enigma, the closest brush with the unknown. The instruments grow larger, the data more immense, the algorithms more refined. Yet the question endures, sharp and haunting. If others are out there, why have they not revealed themselves? Perhaps they have, and we do not yet recognize it. Perhaps the language of their communication is beyond human comprehension, woven into physics we do not yet command. Or perhaps they choose silence deliberately, watching from afar, unwilling to speak until humanity itself has matured. The age of signals is still unfolding. The ears of the planet are wider than ever, turned ceaselessly toward the stars. With each passing year, the search grows more intricate, more sensitive, more determined. SETI is not only science. It is philosophy etched in data, a declaration that the human species refuses to accept its solitude without question. It is a search that bridges astronomy with anthropology, astrophysics with existential longing. The radio telescopes stand as monuments to that longing, massive steel structures rising from Earth, listening for voices across the abyss. They're reminders that in all the silence, humanity dares to hope for sound. One day, perhaps, the static will break. A signal will return. A message will cross the gulf of light years. And in that moment, the universe will no longer be vast and empty, but intimate, its silence pierced by connection. Until then, the age of signals continues, poised between silence and revelation. Each sweep of the sky carries with it the possibility that the next spike in the data, the next narrowband burst, will be the one that proves we are not alone. The search is not yet over. In truth, it has barely begun. In the summer of 1950, in a quiet cafeteria at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a simple question slipped into the air. It was spoken by physicist Enrico Fermi, a man who had helped unlock the power of the atom. Surrounded by fellow scientists, he asked not with drama, but with casual curiosity, "Where is everybody?" The question seemed almost innocent. Yet in those 4 words, Fermi captured one of the greatest paradoxes in science. If the universe is vast beyond comprehension, filled with stars, planets, and billions of chances for life to emerge, then why is the night sky silent? Why, after decades of listening, after centuries of watching, have we found no undeniable trace of others? It became known as the Fermi paradox, a riddle that bridges astronomy, biology, and philosophy. Its essence is simple. By all probability, intelligent civilizations should be common. And yet, evidence of them is absent. By the middle of the 20th century, science had already revealed the immensity of the cosmos. The Milky Way alone holds over 100 billion stars, many of them older than the Sun. Today, exoplanet surveys confirm what astronomers once suspected. Planets are not rare, but abundant. NASA's Kepler mission revealed that nearly every star may cradle at least one world, and a significant fraction lie within the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. By conservative estimates, there are tens of billions of potentially Earth-like planets in our galaxy alone. Statistically, life should flourish. Across cosmic timescales, billions of years older than Earth, there has been ample opportunity for civilizations to rise, advance, and spread among the stars. By simple probability, the galaxy should be teeming with voices. And yet, the silence endures. No probes gliding past our planet, no signals etched into the static of the cosmos, no undeniable footprints on the Moon or Mars. Only silence, stretching across the void like an endless unanswered call. This contradiction unsettles the scientific mind because it challenges the very logic of expectation. If life is common, its absence is strange. If life is rare, our existence is stranger still. One explanation is that Earth is extraordinarily unique, a fragile oasis in a desert universe. Perhaps the chain of coincidences that allowed life to bloom here is so improbable that it may not have occurred anywhere else. The exact tilt of Earth's axis, the shield of Jupiter protecting us from impacts, the chemistry of our oceans, the emergence of DNA, all may be steps so rare that they make humanity a solitary phenomenon in an otherwise lifeless galaxy. But if this is true, the implications are staggering. It would mean that in all the billions of suns, humanity may stand utterly alone, custodians of the only consciousness to have ever opened its eyes to the stars. In such a scenario, silence is not mystery, but tragedy. The alternative is no less unsettling. If life is common, if civilizations are countless, then something must prevent them from reaching us. This idea is known as the Great Filter, a hidden barrier in the path of life, one that few or none survive. Perhaps civilizations destroy themselves through war, collapse, or environmental ruin. Perhaps intelligence carries within it the seeds of self-destruction. In this case, the silence is not emptiness, but warning. The paradox therefore forces humanity into a corner. Either it is utterly unique, or it is part of a cosmos where civilizations inevitably vanish before they can reach across the stars. Both answers are terrifying in their own way. This is why the question matters. The search for extraterrestrial life is not idle curiosity. It is not merely the dream of science fiction or the longing for cosmic companionship. It strikes at the foundations of biology, cosmology, and human destiny. If life is rare, then the fragile miracle of Earth becomes infinitely more precious, a singular flame that must be preserved against extinction. If life is common, then humanity's survival may depend on learning what destroyed the others and avoiding that same fate. For decades, scientists have wrestled with this silence. The Drake equation, proposed in 1961, attempted to break the paradox into measurable terms: the rate of star formation, the fraction of stars with planets, the likelihood of life, intelligence, technology, and survival. While each parameter remains uncertain, the equation frames the puzzle mathematically. Even under cautious estimates, the galaxy should host many civilizations. Yet none have revealed themselves. The search has not been idle. Radio telescopes, from Arecibo to the Allen Telescope Array, have scanned the heavens for deliberate signals. Projects like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, have sifted through billions of frequencies, listening for the whisper of alien voices. None has yet emerged. The cosmos remains as mute as ever. Some propose that civilizations may communicate in ways we cannot yet perceive, using physics beyond our understanding. Others suggest they may choose silence, concealing themselves to avoid detection in a dangerous universe. Still others imagine that they are here already, unnoticed or uninterested, existing at scales or in dimensions beyond human comprehension. Each possibility stretches imagination, but none resolves the paradox. The silence persists, cold and absolute. Philosophers reflect on the weight of this silence. It reshapes the story of human origins, challenging the assumption that evolution is universal. It reframes cosmology, suggesting that intelligence may not be the inevitable crown of life, but a rare anomaly. It questions destiny itself, whether humanity is a fleeting accident or a pioneer species destined to carry consciousness into a wider universe. The shock of the paradox lies not only in its question, but in its mirror. For in searching the skies, humanity is truly searching itself, its place, its meaning, its future. The silence of the cosmos becomes the silence of reflection, forcing the species to confront its own fragility, its own destiny, and the possibility that it may be the lone witness to creation. And yet, the paradox is not despair. It is an invitation to search deeper, to look with sharper eyes, broader instruments, and greater patience. The James Webb Space Telescope now peers into the atmospheres of distant worlds, hunting for chemical fingerprints of life. Next-generation radio arrays will sweep the skies with unprecedented sensitivity. The search continues not only because of curiosity, but because the stakes are existential. Fermi's question still echoes in laboratories, observatories, and in the quiet thoughts of those who gaze into the night sky. Where is everybody? It is a question both haunting and hopeful. For within that silence may lie the most profound discovery of all, that humanity is either a solitary spark in the dark, or one voice among countless others, waiting for the moment when silence finally breaks. Until then, the paradox endures, like a locked door in the halls of the universe. And behind it, a truth that could change everything we believe about life, the cosmos, and ourselves.
The human mind has always filled the night sky with possibilities. Every glimmering star became a question. Every unexplained light, a story. But when faced with modern accounts of unidentified aerial phenomena, when radar echoes and pilot testimonies confirm that something truly unknown lingers above our world, speculation begins to take shape. What, if anything, could these encounters mean? Theories rise like constellations in the dark, each attempting to map the mystery. Some cling close to science, others stretch into philosophy. None are proven. Yet all carry the weight of possibility. Extraterrestrial visitors. The most direct theory is also the oldest. That these phenomena are not of Earth at all, but of civilizations far older, far more advanced, who have mastered what humanity still dreams of, interstellar travel. Physics tells us the challenge is immense. The distances between stars are oceans so vast that even light takes centuries to cross them. The energy required for ships to travel those distances, at speeds near the cosmic limit, dwarfs all technologies we possess. Yet astrophysics also tells us that the universe is ancient, 13.8 billion years old, and in that ocean of time, other civilizations may have arisen millions, perhaps billions of years before ours. If they survived their own infancy, avoided their own self-destruction, their technology might stand to us as fire does to stone. They may have learned to bend space itself, to slip between stars not by speed, but by warping the very fabric of reality. The logic is simple, and haunting. If they exist, and if they can travel, then Earth may not be hidden. Our world, bright with oxygen and liquid oceans, is a beacon in the dark. And the phenomena we see in our skies may be their quiet arrival. Yet the question lingers, why here, why now, and why in silence? Time travelers. Another speculation peers not outward into space, but forward into time. What if the visitors are not alien at all? What if they are human, distant descendants, returning from futures not yet written? The idea echoes through paradoxes. Could the strange craft be machines not of another world, but of another century? Could their silent motions and strange forms be technologies evolved from our own? The physics of time travel remains uncertain. General relativity allows for the warping of spacetime, closed time-like curves that, in theory, could loop into the past. Quantum mechanics, too, whispers of uncertainty, of probabilities that do not always unfold in straight lines. If such travel were possible, it would explain the haunting familiarity of these encounters. The visitors resemble us not in body, but in intent. They observe, they vanish, they never quite intervene. As though they are archivists of history, recording what must not be changed. But with this possibility comes unease. If they are our descendants, what future drives them back? What catastrophe, what crisis, what turning point in human survival requires them to peer into their own origins? Interdimensional beings. Another theory looks sideways instead of forward, toward realities layered upon our own. Physics suggests that our universe may not be the only one. String theory, with its trembling dimensions beyond the familiar three, imagines hidden landscapes of existence. Quantum cosmology speculates that countless parallel universes might unfold alongside ours, invisible yet near. If so, then perhaps the phenomena are not travelers from stars, but from adjacent realms. Creatures not extraterrestrial, but extradimensional. This would explain their strange movements, their vanishing acts, their ability to appear and disappear as though stepping between curtains of reality. What seems impossible within the rules of our universe may be natural within the laws of another. The mind struggles to imagine what such beings would be, what form, what purpose, what consciousness they might hold. To us, they might seem alien beyond recognition. To them, we might be shadows. And perhaps what we call an invasion is nothing more than a crossing of boundaries we do not yet understand. The psychological mirror. Not all theories point outward. Some point inward, into the human mind itself. Psychology has long suggested that visions of visitors may be projections, archetypes rising from the collective unconscious. In the Cold War, reports of flying discs multiplied, echoing the era's fear of nuclear fire and invasion. In earlier centuries, tales of angels, demons, or fairies played a similar role, beings that embodied human hopes and terrors. In this view, the alien is not an external presence, but a mirror of humanity's deepest anxieties. A symbol for the unknown future. A reflection of our own fears of extinction, of contact, of what lies beyond control. Even if the phenomena are real, the way they are interpreted may be shaped by this archetypal lens. For some, they become saviors. For others, threats. The truth, whatever it may be, is filtered through the human need to give the unknown a face. The invasion question across all theories lies the most unsettling question of all: if they are real, whatever they are, what do they want? History offers one model: when civilizations meet, the stronger often dominates the weaker. Empires expand, cultures vanish, survival is dictated not by fairness but by power. If another intelligence comes to Earth, the same logic may unfold. Curiosity may give way to conquest. Yet history also offers another model: moments when explorers encountered one another not with violence, but with exchange. When knowledge, culture, and resources were shared, however briefly, across the boundaries of difference. Would visitors from beyond the stars, or from beyond time, arrive as conquerors, as indifferent observers, or as something more benevolent? The logic of survival suggests caution. A civilization advanced enough to cross interstellar distances, or dimensions, would wield technologies that could unmake our world with ease. Yet the very fact of their survival, if they are millions of years older than us, may suggest a different logic. Perhaps they endured not by conquest, but by restraint. Perhaps curiosity, not domination, is the reason they are here. Or perhaps the truth is even stranger. Perhaps humanity is not the object of their arrival at all. Perhaps Earth is only a waypoint, a place observed in passing, its life only one story among countless others. Reflections in the dark. The theories swirl like planets in orbit, each carrying its own gravity. None can be proven. All are shadows cast against the unknown. But in their variety, one truth becomes clear: the human response to mystery is not silence, but imagination. And in imagination, the deepest fears and hopes of our species are revealed. Whether the unknown is extraterrestrial, temporal, dimensional, or psychological, the fact remains that something has unsettled the boundaries of the ordinary. Something moves in the skies, in the mind, in the very edge of scientific comprehension. The invasion, if it comes, may not be of armies and weapons, in the long history of mystery, perspective itself. Speculation always came first. A quiet intrusion into the way humanity understands its place in the cosmos. To face the unknown, that is the most profound invasion not only to myth, not the arrival of others, but the collapse designed to pierce the darkness and replace the realization that the universe is still stranger, in the modern age, and more mysterious than we have ever dared to believe. The night sky has always been filled with stars, yet only in recent decades has humanity gained the ability to see beyond them with precision. The Kepler Space Telescope, launched in 2009, opened the floodgates of discovery. It watched patiently as distant stars flickered, their light dimming when unseen planets crossed in front. From these delicate shadows, entire worlds emerged. Kepler revealed that planets are not rare jewels scattered across the galaxy, but abundant, perhaps numbering in the hundreds of billions within the Milky Way alone. Among them were Earth-sized worlds orbiting in the so-called habitable zone, the delicate band where liquid water could exist. Its successors extended the search. The Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, TESS, cast a wider net, scouring nearly the entire sky for planetary transits. And then came the James Webb Space Telescope, a machine of mirrors and infrared light, capable not just of detecting worlds, but of analyzing their atmospheres. For the first time in history, the faint chemical breath of alien planets could be examined across unimaginable distances. Oxygen, methane, water vapor, molecules that on Earth are the signatures of life, might be found drifting in alien skies. The search was no longer about distant lights. It was about fingerprints of biology written in the air of other worlds. Science does not stop at detection. It listens, too. Radio telescopes sweep the heavens, listening for the faint hum of signals, deliberate or accidental. The search for techno-signatures asks a simple but profound question: if another civilization has arisen, would its presence betray itself not through ships, but through light and sound, through technology radiating across the void? SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has spanned decades, using arrays like the Allen telescope to comb through cosmic noise. Though no confirmed signal has ever been found, the silence itself becomes data, reminders of the vastness of the search, and of the possibility that civilizations may not communicate in ways familiar to us. Meanwhile, physicists and biologists refine the models. Could alien life mirror Earth's dependence on carbon, water, and oxygen? Or might life elsewhere arise from different chemistries, silicon scaffolds instead of carbon chains, solvents stranger than water? Extremophiles on Earth, organisms thriving in boiling vents, acidic lakes, and frozen tundras, expand the imagination of what life can endure. Science, cautious yet relentless, prepares to recognize the unfamiliar when it appears. Not all attention looks outward in hope. Some looks upward in defense. The cosmos is not only a cradle for life, but a theater of danger. Asteroids, comets, and cosmic debris cross paths with Earth, reminders of the impact that once ended the age of dinosaurs. To ignore such risks is to court extinction. And so humanity has begun the slow construction of planetary defense. NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office tracks thousands of near-Earth objects, mapping their orbits, calculating probabilities of collision decades into the future. The DART mission in 2022 took the first bold step, not merely observing, but intervening. A spacecraft deliberately struck the asteroid Dimorphos, altering its orbit. For the first time, humanity demonstrated that it could nudge a celestial body off course. It was not just a technological achievement. It was an evolutionary moment, the first proof that a species could defend its planet against cosmic fate. To prepare for alien life, science builds telescopes. To prepare for alien threats, it builds shields. Both arise from the same recognition, that Earth is fragile, a lone oasis in a sea of uncertainty. Yet even with instruments, even with missions, science faces an abyss of uncertainty. The question of life beyond Earth is not just one of detection, but of imagination guided by data. Biologists model life not only as it is, but as it could be. Carbon-based chemistry is versatile, its molecules forming the chains that support DNA, proteins, and cells. But silicon, though heavier and less flexible, might also provide a framework for complex structures. On worlds with different pressures, temperatures, or atmospheres, biology might follow rules that to us would seem alien in the truest sense. Some models imagine microbial life, the quiet, unseen architects of ecosystems, perhaps the most common form life takes across the cosmos. Others envision superintelligent beings, the rare culmination of evolution, civilizations whose technology bends physics as ours bends fire and electricity. Astrobiology, then, becomes a field where science and speculation meet. It studies the extremophiles of Earth not as curiosities, but as ambassadors of possibility. If life can thrive in boiling acid, in frozen seas beneath Antarctic ice, or in the crushing pressures of the deep ocean, then perhaps it can also thrive beneath the icy crust of Europa, or in the methane lakes of Titan. The boundaries of habitability expand with every discovery. The scientific search is not just technical. It carries a weight of philosophy. If oxygen or methane is found in alien atmospheres, if microbial fossils are unearthed on Mars, or if a distant signal one day proves artificial, the meaning of human existence would shift. We would no longer be singular. The narrative of Earth as the lone cradle of consciousness would fracture. Yet science also prepares for the possibility of emptiness, that no signal is found, no biosignature confirmed, that life may be rare beyond imagination. In that silence, humanity would find itself alone, burdened with the knowledge that it carries the only flame of consciousness known to exist. Such a realization would be as heavy as contact itself, demanding a new sense of responsibility for the fragile planet that sustains it. Science, unlike myth, does not promise comfort. It promises clarity, even when clarity is unsettling. The instruments humanity has built, the Kepler telescope, the James Webb, TESS, DART, are not merely machines. They are extensions of the human condition, caught between fear and curiosity. Fear drives the monitoring of asteroids, the defense against extinction. Curiosity drives the search for exoplanets, the study of alien atmospheres. Together they form the dual posture of a species awakening to its place in the cosmos, cautious, yet restless, fragile, yet determined to reach beyond itself. Each discovery, each mission, becomes part of a dialogue with the unknown. A whisper into the darkness, asking if anyone else is listening. A calculation of trajectories, ensuring that humanity itself survives long enough to hear the answer. Science responds not with certainty, but with tools, machines of glass and metal, orbiting silently in the void, listening, watching, recording. Each one extends the senses of a species still young, still vulnerable, yet daring to ask questions older than history. The unknown may never fully yield its secrets. But the act of searching, of building instruments that can glimpse what the eye cannot, is itself a kind of defiance. A refusal to accept ignorance as destiny. The telescopes point outward. The radar scans for threats. The models of alien life expand with every discovery of extremophiles. Step by step, science transforms the mysterious into the measurable. And yet, even with all its data, all its precision, science cannot strip away the wonder. For every world detected, for every spectrum analyzed, only deepens the question, if life exists beyond Earth, what will it mean for those who look up and wonder? Perhaps the true response of science is not to end the mystery, but to guide humanity closer to it, until one day, the silence breaks. The new millennium was meant to be a triumph of science. Technology surged forward, telescopes gazed deeper than ever into the cosmic dark, and physics pulled back the curtain on realms once thought untouchable. Yet alongside these victories, a quieter, more unsettling story began to surface, a story of objects in Earth's skies that defied explanation. For decades, such reports have been confined to the fringes of culture, dismissed as illusion or myth. But in the 21st century, the unknown began to press against the walls of the mainstream. The mystery had not vanished with time, it had grown sharper, clearer, harder to ignore. In 2004, off the coast of California, Navy pilots on routine training exercises encountered something that shattered their understanding of flight. The objects appeared suddenly on radar, dropping from altitudes of 80,000 feet to near sea level in less than a second. Commander David Fravor, a veteran pilot, was among those sent to investigate. What he saw would haunt him. An oblong, whitish craft, no larger than a fighter jet, hovered over the ocean. Its surface was featureless, its motion fluid, almost organic. When Fravor approached, the object accelerated, without wings, without exhaust, without sound, vanishing beyond the horizon with impossible speed. It was beyond anything we had, he would later testify. This was not a story of speculation, but of trained military observers, describing events corroborated by advanced radar systems. For years, such reports remained buried in classified files, spoken of only in whispers. But in 2017, a remarkable shift occurred. The Pentagon declassified 3 videos captured by U.S. Navy aircraft. The footage, though grainy, was unmistakable. In one, a small object rotated rapidly against the wind, as voices of astonished pilots crackled over the audio. In another, a dark speck raced across the ocean, tracked by infrared sensors, its acceleration defying conventional physics. These clips, nicknamed FLIR 1, Gimbal, and Go Fast, revealed craft that seemed to ignore the fundamental laws of motion: no sonic boom despite supersonic speeds, no exhaust despite acceleration that should have required unimaginable energy. For the first time, the United States government admitted that the objects were real, though their nature remained unknown. The official label was careful, almost surgical: unidentified aerial phenomena. Not alien spacecraft, not secret weapons, but phenomena. Things seen, measured, recorded, yet unexplained. The revelation struck with a quiet shock. What had once belonged to tabloids and conspiracy theories was now acknowledged by military and intelligence agencies. The mystery was no longer fringe. It was official. In 2020, the Pentagon established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, later reorganized into the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. Their mandate was to investigate sightings that could not be dismissed as aircraft, drones, or atmospheric illusions. Reports numbered in the hundreds, many from Navy pilots, radar operators, and trained observers whose careers depended on precision. Some cases were resolved: balloons, experimental drones, misidentified natural phenomena. But a core of incidents remained unexplained, marked by flight characteristics beyond the reach of current technology. Objects accelerating thousands of times faster than the pull of Earth's gravity. Maneuvers that would tear any human pilot apart. What unsettled scientists was not only the strangeness of the phenomena, but their consistency. Reports from different coasts, different squadrons, different instruments, described patterns that repeated. Sudden appearances. Hypersonic speeds. Abrupt right-angle turns. Hovering without visible propulsion. Vanishing without trace. The phenomena seemed to move with intelligence, responding to the presence of aircraft, sometimes shadowing them, sometimes fleeing, sometimes confronting them directly. The implications were staggering. If these objects were human technology, they represented a leap in physics beyond anything publicly known. If they were natural phenomena, they pointed to forces in the atmosphere that science had yet to understand. And if they were neither, then the universe had placed something in our skies that defied all categories. For the first time in history, government spoke with a strange humility. The Pentagon, in official reports to Congress, admitted what once would have been unthinkable: we don't know. The acknowledgement marked a cultural turning point. For centuries, the unknown had been a private fascination, relegated to folklore and speculation. Now it stood in the halls of power, addressed in official briefings, discussed in the open by senators and scientists alike. The question of extraterrestrial life had not been answered, but it had been legitimized. Public reaction was conflicted. Some dismissed the revelations as mundane, an overblown account of misidentified drones. Others felt vindicated, seeing proof that humanity was not alone. But for many, the deeper effect was quieter, a realization that the skies above might still hold mysteries beyond imagination. The scientific community responded with caution. Physics demands evidence, repeatable measurements, and clear hypotheses. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And yet, the data presented a challenge. Radar tracks, infrared signatures, cockpit footage, all consistent with something real, but not yet understood. Some researchers speculated that plasma effects in the atmosphere, or sensor artifacts, might account for the anomalies. Others argued that foreign adversaries might have developed technologies hidden from the public eye. And still others entertained the possibility, rarely spoken aloud, that these were glimpses of something truly non-human. The escalation of the unknown lies not only in the sightings themselves, but in their timing. They emerge in an age when humanity is reaching outward, scanning the stars for signals, cataloging thousands of exoplanets, and preparing missions to worlds beyond Earth. To encounter the inexplicable not in distant galaxies, but in the skies above our oceans, is a paradox that unsettles the imagination. Are these objects scouts, watchers, or accidents of nature misunderstood? Do they belong to Earth's future, to some hidden human technology not yet revealed? Or do they belong to something else entirely, a presence that has always been near, unnoticed until instruments grew sharp enough to see? The story is still unfolding. Committees in Congress continue to demand transparency, pressing the military for answers. Pilots continue to report encounters, describing objects that outpace the fastest jets. And the skies continue to whisper with enigmas, each sighting adding to a puzzle that refuses resolution. The age of denial has passed. What remains is a careful acknowledgement of mystery. A silence broken not by answers, but by admission of ignorance. In this, there is both unease and wonder. Humanity has long believed that with enough instruments, enough science, enough calculation, all mysteries would dissolve into knowledge. But the UAP phenomena suggest that the unknown is not so easily banished. It persists, hovers, accelerates, and vanishes, reminding us that our understanding of reality is still incomplete. The escalation of the unknown is not merely a question of technology or physics. It is a question of humility. For the first time, the guardians of air and space admit that their skies are not fully under their command. The horizon is not closed, the map not finished. And so, humanity finds itself in a strange new era, caught between revelation and silence, between skepticism and awe. The skies no longer seem empty. They have become a theater of mystery, where something moves with intent, yet remains hidden from understanding. Perhaps the greatest discovery is not the objects themselves, but the realization that even in the 21st century, with all our science and technology, the world remains wild, mysterious, and open. The unknown has not retreated. It has escalated. And somewhere above the oceans, in the thin air where radar scans and cameras strain to see, the mystery still lingers, waiting for the day when silence will yield to comprehension.
For decades, reports of strange objects in the skies hovered on the fringes of credibility, dismissed as illusions, weather balloons, or the overactive imagination of witnesses. But in the 21st century, something began to change. The unknown did not vanish. It escalated. In 2017, a series of videos, once sealed within the archives of the United States military, were thrust into public view. Grainy infrared footage, captured by Navy fighter jets, showed objects that moved in ways no aircraft on Earth was known to move. They darted across the sky without wings, without exhaust, without sound. They accelerated from stillness to blistering velocity in an instant, no sonic boom, no trace of propulsion, as if physics itself had bent to their passage. These were not tales whispered in shadow, but evidence released by the Pentagon itself. For the first time, the unknown had been pulled from the margins into the heart of official acknowledgement. The Navy encounters the pilots who witnessed these events were among the most skilled observers in the world, men and women trained to identify enemy aircraft, to read the skies with absolute precision. And yet, even they confessed confusion. Commander David Fravor, a seasoned Navy pilot, described one such encounter off the coast of California in 2004. He spoke of an object shaped like a tic-tac, smooth, featureless, without wings or rotors, descending from high altitude, then dancing across the ocean's surface before vanishing in a burst of speed. Fravor admitted, it was beyond anything we had. This was not a single report. Multiple pilots tracked the same object with their eyes, with radar and with infrared sensors. Independent systems confirmed what the human witnesses described. For investigators, this convergence of testimony and technology left a riddle without solution. Physics in defiance, the maneuvers documented in these encounters appear to violate the known laws of aerodynamics and inertia. Objects accelerated at rates that would crush a human pilot into dust. They turned sharply without banking, suggesting mastery over gravity itself. No heat signatures betrayed engines or thrusters. In one video, an object rotated while hovering against strong winds, then zipped away at speeds no known aircraft could approach. Calculations based on sensor data suggested accelerations thousands of times greater than those tolerated by modern aerospace materials. Physicists who examined the footage and radar logs did not claim to understand what was seen. Instead, they described an absence, a gap between the technology of today and the mysteries playing out above the oceans. From fringe to mainstream for most of the 20th century, reports of unidentified flying objects were relegated to the edges of culture, fuel for tabloids, fodder for conspiracy, symbols of ridicule. To claim a sighting was to risk dismissal, even scorn. But the Pentagon's disclosure shifted the narrative. Suddenly, the mainstream press treated the phenomenon not as fantasy, but as fact. The United States government established official task forces to study what it now calls UAPs, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Reports were submitted to Congress, acknowledging that these events occur with alarming frequency and that they remain unexplained. Perhaps most startling of all was the admission that the objects are real. Not illusions, not fabrications, but physical, observable presences operating in restricted airspace with impunity. The stigma began to erode. Pilots who once stayed silent came forward with their accounts. Military personnel revealed radar data long hidden. The phenomenon, once dismissed, was now a matter of national security. The global stage, it is not only the skies of America that bear these mysteries. Pilots and radar operators in Europe, South America, and Asia have reported similar encounters. Objects accelerating without visible propulsion. Craft hovering for hours, then vanishing in an instant. Bright spheres plunging into oceans, leaving no splash, as if water itself offered no resistance. Some governments, like Chile and France, have conducted official investigations, releasing reports that echo the same perplexities. Credible witnesses, advanced sensors, inexplicable maneuvers. The pattern transcends borders, cultures, and languages. This global consistency hints at something deeper. If the phenomenon is real, it does not belong to one nation. It belongs to the Earth. The psychology of disclosure, the acknowledgement of the unknown, stirs both wonder and unease. For many, the idea that military pilots and governments confess ignorance is more unsettling than the prospect of aliens themselves. If the guardians of the skies cannot identify what shares their domain, what does that mean for security, for sovereignty, for control? In the halls of power, questions multiply. Could these objects be the craft of rival nations, wielding technologies decades ahead of known science? Or does their behavior, so far beyond human capability, suggest something else entirely? The lack of answers may be the most haunting truth of all. The escalation, what began as whispers, has become official testimony. What was once laughed away now fills congressional hearings. The unknown has escalated, not in number alone, but in legitimacy. Each revelation lifts another layer of denial, exposing humanity to a truth it cannot yet define. And yet, beneath every disclosure lies the same refrain: we do not know what they are. This confession reverberates with unsettling power. For it is one thing for a witness to admit uncertainty. It is another for the machinery of government and the rigor of science to stand before the world and echo the same words. The mirror of the sky, the phenomenon, whatever its nature, forces a reckoning. Perhaps it is a mirror held above humanity, reflecting its fears, its ambitions, its limitations. If the skies harbor intelligence beyond our own, then the human story is not the center of the universe, but one chapter among countless others. If instead the objects are born of undiscovered physics, then nature itself is more mysterious than imagined, and humanity has only glimpsed the edges of its potential. Either way, the escalation of the unknown is a call to humility. A reminder that even in an age of satellites and telescopes, there are truths in the skies that escape explanation. In the dark waters of the Pacific, in the storm-laden skies of the Atlantic, on the silent ridges of radar screens, the unknown has revealed itself with increasing boldness. Military disclosure has not resolved the mystery. It has amplified it. And now the world waits on the threshold of revelation, caught between the comfort of ignorance and the terrifying vastness of truth. History remembers the Middle Ages as a time of castles and kingdoms, of plagues and prayers, of faith rising skyward in cathedrals of stone. Yet hidden within its chronicles are stranger entries, brief passages, etched by scribes and monks, describing sights in the heavens that defied both theology and reason. These accounts, preserved in manuscripts and annals, whisper of an enigma that haunted the skies long before the age of science. The heavens as scripture to the medieval mind, the sky was not empty space. It was a canvas painted by the divine. Comets, eclipses, and strange lights were read as messages, omens of war, famine, or divine judgment. When fiery globes streaked across the night, chroniclers did not speak of natural phenomena. They spoke of signs. One such account comes from England in the year 1254, where monks recorded that a fiery object of great length appeared in the sky for many days. To them, it was not a question of physics, but of prophecy. Heaven itself was speaking. But even within these theological interpretations, certain details stand apart. Descriptions of shapes, of motion, of persistence, objects that hovered, split apart, or maneuvered against the wind. They did not resemble the transient flare of meteors or the trailing tails of comets. They lingered and they moved with intent. The Basel celestial phenomenon in 1566, over the city of Basel in Switzerland, witnesses reported a spectacle that filled the skies for hours. Chronicles describe black spheres moving across the dawn, engaging in what appeared to be aerial combat. They darted back and forth, colliding with one another, glowing with red light, then vanishing as if consumed by fire. The illustration that survives from this event is haunting. It shows dozens of dark orbs scattered across the heavens, as if the sky itself had become a battlefield. To the people of Basel, this was a divine omen. To the modern reader, the description carries an uncanny resemblance to aerial formations, objects maneuvering in coordinated, purposeful patterns. The Basel phenomenon remains one of the most striking examples of medieval UFO reports, carefully documented, observed by many, and committed to print. Nuremberg, 1561. The sky on fire just 5 years earlier, another extraordinary sight had been recorded in Nuremberg, Germany. On the morning of April 14th, citizens awoke to a vision that would become one of the most famous sky events in European history. Chroniclers wrote of spheres, cylinders, and crosses filling the air. They appeared to emerge from the sun itself, engaging in what seemed to be battle. Some crashed to the ground, dissolving into smoke. Others streaked across the horizon, leaving trails of brilliance. An illustrated broadsheet survives, depicting the scene, the sky crowded with shapes of every kind, as though fleets of unknown craft had converged above the city. For the people of Nuremberg, this was no ordinary sight. It was a celestial warning. Modern interpretations vary. Some suggest optical phenomena caused by the interaction of sunlight with ice crystals in the atmosphere. Others argue that the descriptions, objects emerging, maneuvering, colliding, cannot be explained so easily. Whether natural or not, the sheer scale of the event and the number of witnesses give it an enduring place in the tapestry of unexplained history. The Renaissance and the birth of skepticism. The Renaissance was an age when the cosmos itself was being redrawn. Copernicus displaced Earth from the center of creation. Galileo lifted the first telescope toward the heavens, revealing mountains on the moon and moons around Jupiter. The sky was no longer the exclusive realm of the divine. It was becoming a field of observation of science. And yet, within this rational dawn, the anomalies persisted. In 1608, strange lights were reported in France, hovering above towns with such intensity that crowds gathered in fear. In Rome, in 1623, luminous globes were said to drift above the city, defying explanation. Even Galileo, while studying the heavens, occasionally recorded transient lights whose nature he could not determine. These sightings did not vanish with the arrival of science. Instead, they shifted in meaning. They were no longer taken only as omens, but as puzzles, events to be studied, to be explained. The unseen visitors historians of the anomalous point to a striking continuity. Across centuries, across cultures, the same motifs recur: spheres of light, structured shapes, objects maneuvering with purpose. Long before the term UFO was conceived, the phenomenon seemed to play out in the skies above human history. Skeptics offer explanations rooted in atmospheric optics, sundogs, parhelia, and the peculiar tricks of refracted light. Indeed, many medieval observers would have been unprepared to interpret such phenomena scientifically. Yet not every detail fits neatly into these categories. Some descriptions suggest motion and behavior that defy the passive nature of optical illusions. If even a fraction of these accounts describe genuine, physical events, then the mystery stretches far deeper into history than modern sightings alone. The human lens, one must remember that every report of the unknown is filtered through the human mind. In the Middle Ages, a fiery sphere was an angel, a demon, or a sign from God. In the Renaissance, it might be seen as a natural wonder or an omen of change. Today, it becomes a candidate for extraterrestrial technology. The phenomenon is constant. The interpretation evolves. Each era sees the unknown through the prism of its beliefs, its fears, its hopes. Philosophical reflection: if the skies of the past were filled with visitors, what does that say about the human story? Did civilizations long before the space age stand beneath the same mysteries we face today, gazing upward with the same bewilderment? Perhaps the continuity itself is the most haunting fact, that across centuries, humanity has never been alone in its uncertainty. That monks, merchants, and astronomers all stared at the same heavens and found them inhabited by strangeness. The unseen visitors of the Middle Ages may not have left ruins or artifacts. They left only words, etched in ink, pressed into parchment. Yet these words remain, echoing across time, reminding the modern world that the unknown is not new. It is ancient. Closing imagery in the cathedral shadows of medieval Europe, in the cobbled streets of Renaissance cities, humanity lifted its eyes toward the same stars we see today. Between the constellations, strange lights appeared and vanished, leaving behind questions that neither faith nor science could fully answer. The chronicles speak still of Basel, of Nuremberg, of countless lesser-known nights when the heavens seemed alive. The unknown was not waiting for telescopes or satellites. It was already here, woven into the fabric of human memory. And so, the story of the unseen visitors lingers, half omen, half enigma, stretching across the centuries, as eternal as the stars themselves.
For as long as humanity has lifted its gaze to the night sky, there has lingered a quiet question: if there are others out there, how would they speak? Not with words, not with gestures, not with familiar symbols of earthly culture, but with something more enduring, more universal. The universe itself is written in a language that precedes humanity, a script woven into the fabric of reality. Atoms arrange themselves into patterns of chemistry. Gravity sculpts matter into worlds and stars. Mathematics binds galaxies together in spirals of elegant proportion. If there is to be a dialogue between worlds, it must be spoken in this language, the language of the cosmos. Signals in the Silence. In 1960, Frank Drake, an American astronomer, conducted an experiment known as Project Ozma. With a radio telescope in Green Bank, West Virginia, he listened for signals from nearby stars. The attempt was simple, almost fragile, an ear pressed against the dark, waiting for a whisper across interstellar space. Nothing conclusive was heard. Yet that effort marked the beginning of the scientific search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The cosmos, vast and quiet, is not truly silent. Pulsars beam rhythmic flashes of radio light. Quasars blaze with the fury of black holes feeding on matter. Cosmic background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself, hums faintly at every frequency. Against this symphony of natural signals, the question remains: could there be an artificial one, an intentional voice hidden within the static? Mathematics as a bridge. The difficulty is not merely in listening, but in understanding. For alien minds may think in ways unimagined by humanity. Their senses may not even align with our own. And yet, there is one candidate for a shared foundation: mathematics. The laws of physics apply across the universe without exception. The value of pi is the same in every galaxy. Prime numbers are prime regardless of who counts them. The spectral lines of hydrogen, the most abundant element in the cosmos, shine with the same frequency everywhere. Carl Sagan, reflecting on this challenge, argued that mathematics is the only true universal language. If an advanced civilization wished to announce its presence, it might do so not with words, but with patterns. A sequence of primes, a modulation in binary, a repetition that nature itself would not produce. The Arecibo message in 1974, humanity attempted its first deliberate cosmic greeting. From the great radio dish at Arecibo in Puerto Rico, a message was beamed toward the globular star cluster M13, 25,000 light-years away. It was brief, lasting only a few minutes, and yet it carried within it the distilled essence of human identity. The transmission encoded numbers, chemical formulas, the structure of DNA, a sketch of the solar system, and even a crude outline of a human being. It was not a conversation but a gesture, a message in a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean. If ever received, the reply would take 50,000 years to return. The Arecibo message was symbolic, not practical. It was humanity's declaration that it had learned to speak, however faintly, in the language of the cosmos. The problem of meaning. Yet even if a signal were received, another question looms: would it ever be understood? Human languages themselves are riddled with ambiguity. Meaning depends on context, culture, history. A message without shared experience may remain forever opaque. Consider the Voyager Golden Records, phonograph discs affixed to the Voyager spacecraft, launched in 1977. Each carries music, sounds, and images of Earth. Whale song, the laugh of a child, greetings in dozens of languages, the rush of waves on a shore. They are beautiful testaments to human culture, but they presuppose a listener who perceives as we do. To beings without eyes, a photograph may be meaningless. To creatures without ears, music may be silence. Mathematics may open the door, but true understanding requires something more elusive: empathy across species, a shared framework of perception. It is possible that messages could be received and yet remain forever undeciphered, artifacts of a mind that can never be bridged to ours. The mystery of the wow signal. On August 15, 1977, Jerry Emmon, working with the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio, noticed something unusual. A narrowband radio signal, lasting 72 seconds, appeared from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. Its intensity was striking, its profile unlike the background noise of space. In the margin of the printout, Emmon wrote a single word: wow. The signal has never been explained. It was never repeated. No known natural source quite matches its characteristics. Some suggest a passing comet, others an earthly transmission reflected off space debris. But the mystery endures, a fleeting whisper in the silence, never heard again. The wow signal remains a haunting reminder. If it was artificial, then it was proof that someone, somewhere, once spoke. If it was natural, then it is simply another puzzle, waiting to be solved. Either way, it captures the fragility of this search, an ocean of silence, punctuated by a single, tantalizing note. Patterns in the dark. Astronomers now employ vast arrays of radio telescopes, scanning the skies with increasing sensitivity. Algorithms sift through torrents of data, searching for patterns that cannot be explained by nature alone. At the same time, optical searches look for pulsed lasers, signals of light sharper than any star could produce. And yet, despite decades of listening, no confirmed signal has ever been heard. Some argue this is proof of solitude. Others suggest we have only just begun to listen, and the ocean is too vast to draw conclusions from a few shallow drops. The paradox deepens. The Milky Way alone contains more than 100 billion stars, many with planets. With so many potential homes for life, the silence itself becomes a question. Is the universe empty? Or is it full of voices speaking in a language we do not yet recognize? The philosophy of silence can mean many things. It may be the absence of others. It may be the barrier of distance, time, or incompatible forms of thought. Or perhaps, civilizations choose silence, listening, watching, but never speaking. The philosopher John Wheeler once said, "The universe gives birth to consciousness, and consciousness gives meaning to the universe." If so, then the act of listening itself is significant. Whether or not a reply comes, the search affirms humanity's place within the cosmos. It is not merely curiosity, it is participation in the grand dialogue of existence, even if all that is heard is the echo of our own voices. Closing imagery across the earth, radio dishes tilt skyward. Lasers sweep the heavens in silence. In every frequency, at every wavelength, the question persists, is someone out there, waiting to speak? The cosmos itself may be the answer. Every atom, every law, every constant is a phrase in the universal language. To understand it is to read the grammar of existence itself. And somewhere, perhaps beyond the veil of distance or time, another intelligence may be doing the same, deciphering the same equations, listening to the same background hum, wondering if the silence is empty or simply waiting for the right frequency to be found. The stars themselves may be letters. The galaxies, sentences. And the universe, infinite and unfolding, may be not just a place, but a message, an eternal conversation written in the very structure of reality.